Well, it's Friday. As you know, Fridays are normally the day just before the weekend. I mean, who doesn't love Fridays? But on this particular Friday, as you know, I mentioned before that we're going to try to catch up with Stardom's much recent and, of course, their annual round robin tournament, the 5-star Grand Prix. Now, we did much as we can, as little as possible. But however, I feel we just caught on just by one day away from it. So we're going to focus, of course, with day 6 all the way to day 9. Now, day 10, I'll probably review that until a little later because that's going to be the much newer show that, of course, will be put out. So we'll just wait maybe a day or two for that. But let's focus on what we can do as we speak. So, as you know, we're going to do all of it from A to Z. So buckle up. And of course, to let you guys know, there are no news updates for today. So you can just relax and enjoy Stardom. So let's get to it with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. So, let's get down to business. So, as I mentioned before, it's all about Stardom and, of course, catching up with the 5-star Grand Prix. So, let's begin. So, let's start with day 6. Okay, day 6 of the 5-star Grand Prix, as you probably know it right about now. Now, this took place, of course, on August 6th in Cork Hall. So basically, we have a mixture of the blocks from the blue and the red blocks, the blue and the red star blocks. So basically, I'll tell which one it is so that way you guys don't get confused. So we opened up with the blue star B block. We have Momo Watanabe versus Rana Yagami. Now, of course, you probably know by some factors, of course, Rana being a bit more, has maybe a year or two of experience, but she knows what she's doing, but she's also an excellent striker. Just like, of course, Momo Watanabe. But however, Momo's been winning her matches recently just by applying a chokehold. And just like that, Rana Yagami had no choice but to tap out, giving Momo the total points now of 8 points, leaving Rana Yagami with just 2. Now we jump in with the Red Stars A block. We have B Priestley versus May Sita, which is going to be interesting. I think B Priestley used to be a high-speed champion herself, but she's facing a much faster individual than her. Now, of course, many people would have presumed that Bea Priestley was going to win this one, but nope. May Sita was able to surprise everybody when she applied the shooting star, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she wins the match with the total points of 7, and of course, leaving Bea Priestley with the total points of 3. Now we jump in with Red Star A block. We have Azusa Inaba versus, of course, Yuna Mizumori. Now, of course, it's going to be interesting. We know that Yuna Mizumori has a bit of a development with both high speed and powerhouse, which is her main weapons. But however, you look at Azusa Inaba with the background of course, being a martial artist, and not to mention a member of Hate, you think there was going to be something. But however, Yuna Mizumori was surprised how this match ended because nobody expected this from Azusa Inaba. She picked up the win by applying a roll-up onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she wins the match with the total points of 4, leaving Yuna Mizumori with the total of 2. Now we jump into the Blue Stars B block. We have Raka versus Ami Suri. So it's a very interesting development match because we know these two ladies are powerhouses, which is something we know. However, Raka attacked Ami Suri right before the bell rings, so basically she might have considered Ami Suri as a threat. But however, of course, like I mentioned, when it comes to Raka and the members of Hate, they would definitely try to get involved, including one of them was Momo Watanabe. And then, of course, Raka used a box on her and then applied a German suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. So basically, Raka gained the total points of 3 while leaving Ami Suri with the total points of 6. So, as always, Hate will always try to find ways to cheat their way through. So that's always been nothing new to anybody, but that's how they operate. Now we continue with the Red Stars B block. We have Natsuko Tora versus Sayaka Kurara. Now they haven't had a singles match for quite some time. If you guys remember clearly, last year Natsuko Tora was involved in the tournament, and her opponent was Sayaka Kurara. However, Natsuko Tora actually attacked her before the bell even rung, even disqualified herself with the green mist, giving Kurara the win. However, Kurara felt like she never did win entirely due to the fact that it kind of ruined her moment. I'm not sure if Natsuko Tora did that too. Of course, this match is more of like getting her how do I say, revenge for that match that she disqualified. I don't know. But Kurara, we know she has changed a lot. We know she has developed some skills. We know that her spears are flawed. She even applied the Falcon Arrow. She even applied, of course, the Violet Screwdriver like Tam Nakano. She even does the Violet shooting Violet, or whatever it's called. Same moves as Tam Nakano. That kind of plays out. But however, when it comes to Natsuko Tora, you know that she'll do whatever it takes to win, even if she has to soften up her opponents outside the ring. And then she applied the Swanton Bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Natsuko Tora gained total points of 8, leaving Sayaka Kurara with just total points of 2. Now, our next match is the Blue Star B block. We have Hanako versus Suzuki. So, of course, this was going to be an interesting matchup. Hanako, we know she's a strong individual, not to mention using a good submission technique that she learned from Shinsuke Nakamura. We thought that was going to help. Suzuki, we know she's a bit of a violent person. She likes to fight. She likes to do brutal things to her opponents. But however, the more that was happening, the more this match ended in a double countout after 11 minutes and 59 seconds. So basically it became a draw after, of course, and the total points for each of them they get is 1 point, but the total points they have in the tournament is 5 each. Yeah, 5 each. So basically that's how it rolled up. Now, our next match, we have Konami versus Hina, also part of the Blue Star B block. Now, it's interesting to see these two together. As you all know, Konami and Hina used to be members of Queen's Quest, but I'm sure Hina will love nothing more to get revenge on Konami for what she did, of course, to Shuri. And I'm sure that's something that might have crossed her mind. Now, keep in mind, Konami likes to cheat too as a member of Hate. That's always been her gimmick. But one thing was interesting. Hina was determined to pick up that win and get revenge, of course, for shooting, and I'm sure that was the main point for her. And that's exactly what she did. She applied multiple times the gutto clutch, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she finally got her win against her, which is awesome. And I'm sure Konami is crying like a little girl about that, but yep, she lost. Now we jump into, of course, the Blue Star A block. We have Boatzilla versus Sayuri Ano. Now, of course, this was a big challenge for Sayuri Ano because she's facing a much bigger individual, but much deadly. But man, Sayuri Ano took the fight to her no matter what. I was like impressed by that. But unfortunately, this match ended with, of course, a time limit draw after 15 minutes, leaving them with the total points of 5 each. So basically, that's how it goes. So I didn't expect this one, but I have to say it was a pretty good match. I'm not gonna lie about that. Now, let's jump into the Red Stars B block. We have Rina versus Azumi. Now, keep in mind, people, Rina was undefeated throughout the entire tournament, but Azumi is facing someone who she has faced before. Now, it's not the first time, of course, that Azumi and Rina has faced off. Last time they faced off each other in singles match was maybe 2 or 3 years ago when Rina decided to challenge her for the high-speed belt, and she lost. And now Rina probably would think she'll get her revenge over that. But you got to remember, Azumi is an excellent high speedster, and that's exactly what she did. But she took her out by first applying a destroyer, and then, of course, the Azumi Sushi, making, of course, Rina's her first loss in the tournament, giving Azumi the total points of 7, leaving Rina with the total points of 8. Now, our main event is the Red Star A block. We have Hanan versus our current Wonder Star champion, Saya Kamitani. I have to say, Hanan have picked up an amazing match. I have to say, this is one of the best matches I've seen her do because she's facing against an opponent. As you know, she's far more dangerous, and of course, if she defeats Kamitani, that would put her in a contingency, the challenger for the red belt in the future coming, and that's exactly what she would have done the entire time. But unfortunately, Kamitani has always finds ways to ensure she stays on top, and she applied the Star Crusher, and just like that, it was completely over, leaving her with the total points of 10. So far, nobody has able to defeat her just yet, but leaving Hanan right now with the total points of 5. But we'll see. Look, they cannot keep Kamitani undefeated for long, but sooner or later she may have to lose a match. But we'll see what happens. So we're done with day 6. Let's move on with day 7. Okay. We continue with day 7 of Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix. Now, they made a pit stop at Kyoto, which at the Kyoto KBS Hall. Now, for those who know this or not, Kyoto is the hometown of both Miyu Amasaki and Hanako. Now, probably some of you would think these two will have their main event. Yeah, co-main event, if I'm not mistaken. Look at my notes here. Yep. They do have a co-main event, but I think they're in 2 different blocks, I believe. They're in the Blue Star block, but 2 Blue Stars, but in one it's an A, one in B, just to be 100% sure. So that way you guys know that. So let's begin, of course, with, well, majority of the matches are Blue Stars, in case anybody asks. Now, our first match of this is the Blue Stars A block. We have Yuri Him versus Ami Suri. Now, of course, Yuri Him has not been successful in picking up a win just yet. She's still at the bottom of the barrel of just 0 points. But of course, Ami Suri would have been the obvious one to win because that's exactly what she did. She applied the Blue Thunderbolt and just the Blue Thunder Bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she has total points of 8. Now, Blue Stars B block, we have Konami versus Momokogo. So obviously Konami, as you probably know, has not been very well in the entirety of the tournament. But Momokogo, we also thought the same thing too. But however, it was Konami who was once again victorious when she applied a chokehold, and just like that, she gained the total points of 4, after a submission, and that's how it is. And as for Momo, she is still at the bottom with just 0. Now we jump in with the Blue Stars A block. We have Bozilla versus Aya Sakura. Now, of course, Aya Sakura, I have to say, give her credit that she stood up against Bozilla, knowing she is facing a much bigger and much powerful opponent. But of course, you would think Bozilla would play with her food. That's exactly what she was doing the entire time. But she was able to put her down with the sit-down power bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Bozilla gets the total points of 8, while leaving Aya Sakura at the total points of 2. Now we jump in with the Blue Stars A block. We have Raka versus Sayuri Anu. Now, of course, we know it's no secret about Raka being a member of Hate, that she would do whatever it takes to win the tournament. And of course, that's exactly what she tried to do. But however, you cannot deny the experience of Sayuri Anu. She was able to pick up the win when she applied the pottering. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, she picked up the total points of 7, leaving Raka with the total points of 3. Now, our next match, we have the Blue Stars B block. This one's an interesting matchup. This is a bit of a rematch from a title match that happened not too long ago. We're talking about Rana Yagami versus our current future star of the future of Stardom champion Hina. Now, if you remember, Hina defended her championship against Rana Yagami, and of course, Hina walked out victorious. But the real question is, last time these two ladies, Rana Yagami had one on her, and of course, Hina has the same thing. But this is a bit of a who's gonna take the upper hand on this one. I wasn't too sure. I mean, many people would say Hina would have been the obvious choice due to the fact that she has a bit of experience in her. But unfortunately, Rana Yagami was able to pick up the win by pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. She gets the total points of 4, leaving Hina at 2. Now, however, due to the factor of the idea that Rana Yagami was able to pin, she could catch in another opportunity for the future of Stardom Championship, which obviously could happen. But I'm going to guess this could happen right after the tournament. Now, our next match is the Blue Star B block. We have, of course, Zuzu Suzuki versus Suri. Of course, everybody would root for Zuzu due to the fact that Suri is the heel in this whole tournament, and that's exactly what's happening. But however, they went all hard on each other. But unfortunately, this match didn't go anywhere. But of course, it ended after a time limit draw, leaving, of course, each person to get 1 point each. So that means Zuzu has a total points of 6, leaving Suri with the total points of 5. So that's how it rolls up. Now, our next match is part of our co-main event, and this is the Blue Stars A block. We have Saya Ida versus Miyu Amasaki. Now, of course, as I mentioned earlier in this part of this review, that Kyoto is the hometown of Miyu Amasaki. Many of you would think, oh, Amasaki is going to win it because it's her hometown. Obviously, yeah, we know that a few times she has won her matches or lost in that faction, but I wasn't too sure if that was the case, because Saya Ida was able to pick up the win by a pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over, leaving, of course, Saya Ida with the total points of 4, Miyu Amasaki with total points of 2. Now, our main event, I mentioned, is the Blue Stars B block. We have Momo Watanabe versus Hanako. Now, as I mentioned, Hanako is also from Kyoto, but however, when it comes to Momo Watanabe, you know you want to steer clear from her, knowing too well that she would cheat her way through by either using the bat or having Hate to help her out. That's exactly what happened. But I don't think anybody anticipated that Hanako was going to walk away with the win. She applied the JP coaster, the same move that, of course, Himeka has given her as an inheritance, that allowed her to pick up a huge win against her, and that's exactly what she did. And then just like that, 1, 2, 3, Hanako picked up the win, giving her the total points of 7, leaving Momo Watanabe with the total points of 8. So I have to say, it was a great moment. I mean, it's sad that Miyu Amasaki did not win it due to the fact that this is her hometown. But however, I have to say I'm happy for Hanako that she got the chance to win in Kyoto. But it was a pretty good event. So we'll see how things will go from here. But right now, let's continue on with day 8, I believe, in the 5-star Grand Prix. Okay, we continue more with Stardom of the 5-star Grand Prix. So we are now in day 8, and this one is in Okayama, in case anybody asks, and it took place on the 9th of August. Now, we already have we're now going to have a mixture of blue and red star blocks, so bear with me. Our first match is the red star B block. We have Rianne versus Azumi. Now, of course, obviously, Rianne, and from what I can tell in my notes here, that she hasn't picked up a single win at all. So basically, she could possibly be out of the tournament. But Azumi is doing pretty well. So obviously, this match was going to go in favor to her, and that's exactly what she did. She normally applied the double foot stomp, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Azumi has the total points of 9. Now we have the Red Star A block. We have Waka Tsukiyama and Yuna Mizumori. Now, of course, it's no secret about these two. They know each other before their arrival to Stardom. For those who may not know this, it was Yuna Mizumori who introduced Waka Tsukiyama to Choco Pro all those years ago. If you guys are any Waka fans, now you know the truth about that, what you didn't know. But of course, these two know each other too well. Of course, Waka, many people would have assumed she might have picked up the win, but nope. It was Yuna Mizumori that did that with a Death Valley bomb, I believe, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she gets her next 2 points with a total points of 4, leaving Waka still at the bottom with 0. Now we continue on with the same block, the Red Star A block. We have Azusa versus Mei Sita. Now, of course, many people would assume that Mei Sita, being the high speedster, that would have been counted something. And that's something we would have expected, but except she's facing someone who is a member of Hate, and not to mention with the background of martial arts. That would have been the X factor there. But nope, Azusa Inaba was able to pick up the win by pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she gets her next 2 points with the total points of 4, leaving Mei Sita with the total points of 7. Now, our next match, we jump into the Blue Star A block, and this one was a match that was supposed to be from a while ago. For those who may not remember, in day 2, originally we were supposed to have Raka versus Aya Sakura, but due to Raka not being 100% healthy, this match was supposed to be forfeited. But however, Aya Sakura made it clear, I did not want to earn these points by forfeit. I want to earn it the right way. So she made the choice to postpone the match and have it at another date, and that was that day. But some people would say, was this wise of Aya Sakura just to not earn these points in order to stay in the block or whatever? But, was this foolish of her to do that? I mean, I could say maybe all the above in some capacity. I mean, I don't hold it up to against her, but I understand her reasons of earning it rather than handed it over like a silver plate, if you know what I mean. And I don't know if this might have cost her, but of course it did when, of course, Raka picked up her next 2 points when she applied the German suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But in the post-match promo, I'm not sure what Raka said, but I'm sure she's laughing at her, saying, you should have taken those 2 points when it was a forfeit, but that's going to cost her. I mean, that's something I'm sure Raka has to live by, knowing that she should have just taken the points. Rather, I mean, look, if you look at Sayaka Kurara, she won by disqualification against Natsuko Tora last year at the Cinderella tournament, even though she feels like she didn't earn it right, but she's going to try to accept it no matter what. She would have accepted, Aya Sakura would have done that, but she didn't. So hopefully she learns that lesson. Now we continue with the same block, with the Blue Star A block. We have Lady C versus Hana. Now, of course, Hana, we all know she's a rising star. Many people believe that she'll be the future ace of Stardom. You look at Lady C, who is tall. We know she's powerful. We know her factors is her strength, and we would have assumed that's going to happen. But nope, it was, of course, Hana with a backdrop driver that allowed her to pick up her next 2 points with the total of 7, leaving Lady C with the total points of 4. Now, our next two matches are part of the Red Star B block. We have Tomoka Inaba versus Sayaka Kurara. Of course, it was going to be some interesting factors of this. I mean, as I mentioned, like her sister, Tomoka has a background in martial arts too. And of course, that's something we've been paying attention. But we all know Sayaka Kurara, we know she has been not successful enough in the entire tournament, but she has tried so hard. But unfortunately, Tom Inaba applied a figure 4 leg lock onto Sayaka, and just like that, Tomoka Inaba picked up her next 2 points with the total points of 6, leaving Sayaka Kurara with the total points of 2. Now, our next match involving the same block, the Red Star B block, we have Rina versus Natsupoi. Now, of course, Rina, as you know, made it clear that she was going to win this tournament, but however, she recently lost a match against Azumi. But the real question is, can she afford another loss, or will she bounce back from that? I know Natsupoi has been trying to get back on her feet on this one, and I know she did everything humanly possible. I mean, she avoided the Pink Devil many times, but in the end, it was, of course, the fairy ring by Natsupoi that allowed her to pick up her next 2 points with a total points of 6. And just like that, of course, it was over by pinfall. 1, 2, 3. It was over. But this leaves, of course, Rina with a total points of 8, leaving her with just 2 losses so far. So should we be concerned? I don't know. Now, our main event, this is the Red Star B block. Now, some of you may think of it, this is the revenge that Starlight Kid has been looking for. If you guys remember, Natsuko Tora was the one who convinced her to join the dark side a couple years ago when she was snatched away from Stars all the way to Edo Tai. And then of course, a year later, she get kicked out by Natsuko Tora's orders. And now, of course, Starlight Kid gets a bit of a measure of revenge towards her. And that's exactly what was taking place. But I wasn't too concerned too much exactly. We all know that Natsuko Tora will do whatever it takes. I mean, she doesn't need the entirety of hate to help her out unless a situation arises. But in the end, of course, it was Starlight Kid that was able to pick up the win when she applied, of course, the leg killer, and just like that, she tapped out. And I think this could be Natsuko Tora's first loss, I believe. Let me look it up real quick. I did not wrote down the points on this one. Yeah, it is. Basically, it leaves her up to 8 points. But, of course, Starlight Kid leaves her with now 7. So that means anything could happen as we go. So we'll see. But as of right now, let's move on to our next and final review of the Stardom 5 Grand Prix. And this is day 9. Okay, last review. And this one, of course, we continue with day 9 of Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix. Now, we're going to focus mostly on the Blue Stars block in case anybody asks. First match is the Blue Star A block. We have Raka versus Yuri Him. Now, of course, mentioned before, Yuri Him is still at the bottom of the pile with just 0 points. So most likely this was going to go in favor with Raka, and that's exactly what she did when she applied a choke bomb onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she gets her next 2 points with the total points of 7. Now jumping into Blue Star B block, we have Rana Yagami versus Momo Kogo. So nothing too special about this whatsoever. As I mentioned before, much like Yuri Him, Momo Kogo is also at the bottom of the pile, which is 0 points. And Rana Yagami, well, we know she's a fantastic striker and does have some excellent submission moves techniques. And she could have applied either or on Momo, but she applied the buzzsaw kick, and just like that, knocking her out. 1, 2, 3, over. Rana Yagami gets the total points of 6. Now we jump back to the Blue Star A block. We have Ami Sori versus Miyu Amasaki. Now, of course, this was going to be a very interesting match because obviously you look at Amasaki, some people see her that she's a very interesting wrestler to follow. Ami Sori, a very powerful wrestler. So obviously there's certain factors of that side that you can tell. But I think many people would have assumed that Sayuri Anu would have been excuse me, the logical choice to pick up the win, but no. This one went into Amasaki with her usual move that she applies her pinfalls, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she get the total points of 4, leaving Amisuri with the total points of 8. Now we jump back to the Blue Stars B block. We have Momo Watanabe versus Hina. Now I'm sure many of you know this or not. Both of these two ladies know each other completely as former members of what used to be Queen's Quest. I'm sure Hina hasn't forgotten Momo's betrayal from a couple years ago. And I'm sure deep down she will love nothing more to get revenge on her for what she did. And of course, Momo would have done everything humanly possible to show her that people like her don't stand a chance. I mean, using the bat, cheating her way through, but somehow, some way, Hina was able to apply the ghetto clutch, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she get up on her, just like that, and getting the points of the total of 4, leaving Momo Watanabe with the total points of 8. Now, we have the Blue Star A block, Bozilla versus Saya Ida. Now, keep in mind, Bozilla, we can all agree that she's a strong individual, that she will do whatever it takes to win. However, Saya Ida, we know she's strong, even for someone of her size. I think a 4'11", if I'm not mistaken. But she is the type of person who is not afraid or take any crap from anybody, even if they're a stronger individual than her. But unfortunately, that wasn't enough for her because Bozilla decided to take her out with a sit-down power bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Bozilla walks away with the total points of 10, leaving Saya Ida with a total points of 4. Now our next match, we have the Blue Star B block, Hanako versus Suri. Now, of course, as I mentioned, Suri is the most hated person in Stardom. People don't like her. And of course, everybody were backing up Hanako as always. But Hanako, as you probably know, she's a bit more stronger and taller. However, it's not the first time Suri has faced wrestlers of her size. I mean, if you guys remember, Suri defeated Bozilla last year at Mighty Gold when she was the Mighty Gold World Champion, and that's exactly, she used techniques that she learned from someone who she idolized, of course, the late Antonio Inoki, and that's something that it played out. And of course, Suri used that knowledge in order to put Hanako in a submission move and forcing Hanako to tap out. But I'm sure Hanako is pissed, knowing too well that her strength that she has built up over the years has not worked at all for Suri. So we'll see what happens. But however, they are both right now currently with the total points of 7. So we'll see how things will go from here. Now, our next match, we have the Blue Stars B block. We have Konami versus Suzuki. Now, of course, when it comes to Konami, we know that her usual shenanigans was going to be play out. I mean, try to find ways to cheat, soften her opponents. But however, this entire match was total brutality. I mean, they beat the crap out of each other outside the ring no matter what. And of course, the one thing that was funny, as you all know, Konami likes to cheat and makes fun of her wrestlers when she used a spray can onto her opponents. Well, she got a taste of her own medicine when Zuzu used that same can on her, and just like that took her out. But it was Zuzu who walked away with the win when she applied a German suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she gets the total points of 8, and it stays in that way, leaving Konami in the total points of 4. Now, our main event is for the Blue Star A block, and it's a Cosmic Angels showdown. Aya Sakura, our current Sendai Girls Junior World Champion, takes on Sayuri Anu. Now, of course, Sayuri Anu, as you know, is still holding on by as much as possible, but she knows that she's not facing someone who is, playing games either. Aya Sakura has shown she's determined to win at any cost, even if she has to go dig deeper within herself. But, of course, it was Sayuri Anu with the Temps Tundra onto her. 1, 2, 3. It was over. She now has a total points of 9, of leaving Aya Sakura still with a total points of 2. And of course, both the ladies did a post-match promo and closed down the show. So that's pretty much what happened. So I think that's it for now. We do not have any news updates for everybody, so let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. So coming up, as you know, right about now, we had TNA Emergence. So a lot of things is going to take place. We do have some title matches and special grudges taking place as well. So we'll see how things will progress on that. And then, of course, we have the semifinals of the G1 Climax. Evil faces Yota Tsuji. Zack Sabre Jr. faces Konosuke Takeshita. And then, of course, we have AEW Collision. And I believe we do have a Stardom event taking place. However, I'm still having this little conflicting moment. By the time this video should be uploaded and ready to go, I might not be able to review anything because I am going strictly have some other things I have to do. Apparently, I am going to a family friend's birthday party, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to watch it. So if I am unable to do so, I apologize to people. I may do those reviews possibly on Sunday, and I won't be able to upload it possibly until Monday. So stay tuned for that. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is. So we'll see how things will progress here and out. So enjoy this episode, and I hope things work out for the next one. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.
Are you ready?